Rubio says US and Europe belong together despite tensions. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has assured European leaders the U.S. does not plan to abandon the transatlantic alliance, saying its destiny will always be intertwined with the continents. He told the Munich Security Conference, "We do not seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history." Rubio criticized European immigration, trade and climate policies, but the overall tenor of the closely watched speech was markedly different to Vice President J.D. Vance at the same event last year, during which he scolded continental leaders. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said she was very much reassured by Rubio's remarks. Rubio, the Trump administration's most senior diplomat, said it was neither our goal nor our wish to end the transatlantic partnership, adding, "For us Americans, our home may be in the Western Hemisphere, but we will always be a child of Europe. And I am here today to leave it clear that America is charting the path for a new century of prosperity, and that once again we want to do it together with you, our cherished allies and our oldest friends." However, he repeated several criticisms repeatedly leveled at Europe by the Trump administration, including describing immigration policies as a threat to civilization, and saying a climate cult had taken over economic policy. On trade, he said Europe and the US had made mistakes together by adopting a dogmatic vision of free and unfettered trade. He repeated familiar calls from the US for Europe to invest more in defense, saying we want allies who can defend themselves so that no adversary will ever be tempted to test our collective strength. In response, von der Leyen said Rubio was a good friend, a strong ally. And this was, for me, very reassuring to listen to him. She continued, "We want a strong Europe." And this is, I think, the message of today. Elsewhere in his half-hour address, Rubio said the system of international cooperation must be rebuilt and singled out the UN for particular criticism, saying it had played virtually no role in resolving the Gaza and Ukraine conflicts. He also said the organization was powerless to constrain the nuclear program of Tehran. In recent weeks, President Donald Trump has threatened strikes on Iran if no deal can be reached as negotiations intensify over curbing its nuclear weapons program. Senior Iranian foreign ministry officials told the BBC in Tehran that it now seems likely a second round of indirect talks between the US and Iran will take place on Tuesday in Geneva, following on from talks in Oman earlier this month. Rubio also said the US did not know if the Russians are serious about ending the war, before adding, "But we're going to continue to test it." Speaking later on Saturday, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky told the conference that no one in Ukraine believed his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin would leave the country alone, describing the Russian leader as a slave to war. He has come under pressure from the White House to hold presidential elections, which have been suspended while the country is under martial law. Asked about a Financial Times report that his administration is planning for elections as soon as May, Zelensky said the report had been something new to me, and repeated that nobody supports elections during the war. He said that Ukraine would need 2 months of ceasefire and security infrastructure in order to safely conduct elections. The prominent agent and LA Olympics chief has come under scrutiny over past ties with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The river, which runs through 7 U.S. states that share it, is currently facing the worst drought in 1,200 years. The shutdown won't affect air traffic controllers, but some TSA workers may go without pay. Nikhil Gupta faces a possible 40-year sentence in a murder-for-hire plot targeting Gurpatwant Singh Pannan. The U.S. president's comment comes as a second aircraft carrier heads to the Middle East to pile pressure on Iran. Copyright 2026 BBC. The BBC is not responsible for the content of external sites. Read about our approach to external linking. You have reached the end of our in-depth report. For more deep dives into global affairs and breaking news updates, please subscribe to Neuron News Global and enable all notifications. Stay informed, stay ahead. See you in the next broadcast.